How is the baby, Gahan? How is the baby? All right? Did you try that? Good. Uh-huh. Yeah. So good. Athena. Die. Come along. Come along. Her name is Marina. So fun. Shonu? Where is Shona go? Shonu Kula? Hello? Now you go and call Shonu. Just go and call. Shonu. Where is she now? Go and call. Shonu. Just call. Where is she now? Shonu, you call. Call Shonu. Shonu, where is she? She's outside. Just call her. Go and call. Yes. You must tell them both. Okay? Very busy people. How are you? Good. We had a very good session, I should say, and a very successful trip in Portugal, and even better in Spain. Portugal is a place where gurus have touched very nicely, because people are too simple, I think. And because they are too simple, they are affected too hard. And I was really confronted with so many sick people there who have been to gurus, who have been only for 2-3 years with them, are badly affected. And surprisingly, how the whole thing is exposed, that we may be able to do much better in Portugal. Now the Portuguese people get a lot of wine. They drink a lot. They really drink. I mean, they have all kinds of wines in their country. It's a very big problem of that place is it has many wines. And I think the drunkenness make them extremely lethargic. And that lethargy brought down that empire. You can see it's a very huge place. I mean, the buildings, if you see, are very beautifully done. Lots of buildings with lots of architecture, and all that is like a desolate place. The reason is the people who were at a time quite affluent were doing well. Gradually unemployment started settling down. Lots of strikes, just the same thing as I feel is happening in this country. And unemployment and amounting to starvation. First they used to get doles and all that as we get here. Gradually it stopped. Now it's so bad that all of them have to depend on their parents. There's no way. They have no source of income. Very few industries. It's one of the poorest country in the whole of Europe. That made me think about England. That we have to know that this country also may face a phase if we do not get up now. You see, it's all right to divert your attention to Falkland and all that, but it cannot feed you. So we have to understand, all the Sahaja Yogis must understand, that they all must have some sort of a degree or something on the paper. That's very important. And though you are all realized souls, and you are spiritually so endowed, everything is there. But you have to think of the whole. If the country completely goes down in its production and its capacity to activate itself, you will go down too. So your attention should be now, of course you should not be materialistic, but towards putting more activity into you, even in Sahaja, in meditating, in working it out in yourself. So lethargy is not going to pay. And this is one thing, is such an inertia that exists, that unless and until you really put in complete willpower, this inertia may not be combated, may be very difficult. Even in Sahaja, you see, it is very easy to escape and explain, you see, yourself, oh, I got up and this happens, that happens. But I think the symptoms are of a very dangerous type. And as Sahaja Yogis, you have to be patriotic about it, and you have to think about it. After all, you are symbols of the English people. Whatever works out in you will start working out in the rest. So how you behave towards yourself and towards the general atmosphere is very, very important. Now towards Sahaja Yoga also, the attitude has to be understood very clearly. You see, like a Maharaja in India, who lives in quite great comfort, first of all, lives like a lord, and he orders about, you see. And then everything is lost. But still he talks like a lord, he behaves like a lord. His whole thing is the same way. Though it's not that the kingdom is there, that he is the ruler, but he'll talk like that to everyone, because the habits are formed. I think the mind also has formed the habit. The whole atmosphere is charged with such ego since long. And that's why towards Sahaja Yoga also the attitude has to be humbler, much humbler. Because without humility you cannot do. That's one thing you must understand. It's no question of you rationally saying something about it or explaining about it. But you see, basically, one has to be extremely humble. First of all, it's a very big privilege to get realization. You know that. It's a greater privilege to go in it. And it's the greatest to be a Sahaja Yogi. It's a very great privilege that you have, which very few people have. And you are the ones who are chosen specially. But the humility part of it is still missing about Sahaja Yoga. About Sahaja Yoga. Like we should ask, make me a better Sahaja Yogi, a humbler Sahaja Yogi, a compassionate Sahaja Yogi, a sweeter Sahaja Yogi. Dissolve my. This is very important, we must understand. Because whatever works out in you will work out in this country. Arrogance is something that with ego you can never understand you have been arrogant. The way you talk to others, the way you behave towards others, you will never understand because there is ego. If you are standing in the darkness, the light is there, but it is covered with something. How will you understand where is the light? So humility must be there, because you people have very developed brains, very developed, overdeveloped brains. And that brain can, always tell you, you're better than another. Always. The another one is no good, and the third one is useless. You're the best. That's typical of the brain teachings. And when it starts working out, it's very difficult to see that the one who is saying this is nowhere. Because from the point where you see, you cannot see what you are saying. What you see is the whole thing as if you have to command it, you have to ask for it. Of course, the quality is very much changing now. Everybody is becoming very, very, very sweet and sober, and nobody now demands anything from me, like you must give me this, mother, you have to do it, you have to look after me. After all, I have been to your Caxton Hall once, you see, and how dare you do not look after my mother when she met an accident. Something like that. That's over now. That's over. The quality is improving now. One has started learning now how to laugh at your own ego and this and that. But I personally think that one has to realize that if you represent this country to your mother, then it has to improve still. Still I have to improve. I have to go ahead. I have to go further with it. And I have to develop that beauty of humility. Like in Portugal, they told me, Lord Byron, whom I think to be a useless fellow, absolutely good for nothing, and I regretted every minute why he was created on this earth. He went and said, Sintra is a very beautiful place. Sintra is too good to be wasted on Portuguese. It should have been for Mr. Lord Byron, whosoever he may be. Just see, typical. And it pinches everyone, everybody feels. But think, if you are the person about whom it is said, this is called alright. So one has to develop a kind of a humility that I have to still receive. Come forward. I have to still get it. It has to work out. Now, when it comes to that kind of an attitude, then you turn round. Turn round upon yourself. What have you done for Sahaja Yoga? One question. Simple question. What have you done for Sahaja Yoga? How many people have you given realization? How many people have you been able to cure? How much peace have you got within yourself? How much blissful are you? How much compassion have you got? How much forgiveness and patience you have for others? How much of sharing you can do? These are the signs of Sajogis. That you break your shell, you become the collective. How much do you understand others? And how much do you understand giving others? What have you given to others, even on material level? Let's see. These questions should be put to yourself. On a very material level, these questions are to be asked. On a very material level, because the light comes down up to material level. How many people you can forgive? You are realized soul. You are prophets, no doubt. You can make others prophets. But you have to be the quality also. The quality of a prophet is his nobility. He is so noble. The nobleness. In comparison with other people who are not realized souls, he is nobler. he is more dignified. He is much more forgiving. So the whole way of dealing with others will change. He is obedient. We have to obey in Sahaja. We have to obey our good way. Otherwise, you are difficult people. It's impossible. Nobody can do anything to you. If you are like a thorn, how can anybody help you? So the quality of a Sahajogi is measured by another kind of a measure. It's not the way human beings measure the quality of other human beings. Like somebody has a good taste, for example, so-called. Then people say, oh, he's great with a good taste. Or if he has a big car, oh, he's a big man. Or he talks like that, or he walks like that, or says this, that, and all those things. Or a question like this, why did you say like that? All these words, they sound very hard to me. Why do you do like that? This kind of a language itself was not there in this English language. Nowadays the language is so changed and very rude, very arrogant, and very harmful. So first ask yourself, because Sahaja Yoga will spread, of course, slowly and steadily, I hope, only through your images. You are the reflectors. You put my thousands of posters. I'm so unique, They'll say, all right, this unique personality is taken out. No good. What about the disciples? So, actually, whatever is in the lower level animals is important. Like in lower level animals, the king is the one, say the tiger, has to kill an animal, big animal. It is he who only can kill. Till human stage also perhaps it is so. The one who can really dominate others, survival of the fittest, is the rule. Is the other way around now. It's changed completely. How much free you are in your ideas, or you are still identified with old ideas. But free doesn't mean abandonment by any chance. Freedom means you respect the freedom of others. First and foremost thing of freedom is that you must respect the freedom of others. Even God respects your freedom. He cannot give you realization if you don't want it. You cannot force it. So respect the freedom of others. But that does not mean while respecting the freedom of others, there should be abandonment. If somebody is abandoned in Sahaja Yoga, he goes out of the circulation of Sahaja Yoga. It's not coming in so important. I have told you 100 times. It's the throwing out part of it, you see. Sometimes I feel I should give you some glues to stick on. Maybe the wheel can turn very fast and some of half-baked may be thrown out back again into the oven. So, I feel in these countries where I went, Spain, they call it Spain still half developing, Portugal developing. I don't know what you think about Italy, whatever it is called. Very humble people. Very humble from the very first day. Anyone who comes from the very first day, they are very humble, and because they are humble, they are sensitive to me. Because you have to be really very humble to be sensitive to me. That's a fact. Because I am too simple, naive, as if I do not understand anything. I look like that. As if I have no knowledge of anything. Very simple woman, talks in a very simple way, is very friendly, All right. So to understand me, you have to be extremely humble. And if you cannot go to that level of humility, you cannot see. And you cannot understand. And the more you start understanding, the more humble you will become, naturally, because you know what it is. So, I've told you many times about humility part of it, but my experience of these countries was, where I went there, I mean, they're very humble people, very humble. About Sahaja, extremely humble they were. Even the new people were very humble. Spanish people, same thing, extremely humble. You see, Don had told me that they have an ego of a bullfighter, but the one who came this time was so humble, I was amazed. Even if I could touch them, that was sufficient for them. Nobody pulled my hand, nothing. So this is what it is. One has to understand that we have certain tags of our past, which has to go down. The language should be extremely humble language. Try to read. I don't know whose language is so humble. Maybe mine, I don't know. But try to read books where people speak humble language, humble way of talking. You'll enjoy it. Really enjoy it. Humility is the glory of such yogis. It's the only way they will grow. It's like putting your roots down and down and down. The people who went from here were themselves amazed at the humility of the people who were there. Very much amazed. The way things are working out there, the way they helped us and did everything for us. And I'm sure now in Spain we'll have a very nice, very nice center. Of course, the ambassador is a very humble man, you know him, too humble. And he might be coming here, and one day I want to call him here to the ashram also. He and his wife will be here. So the ambassador was very sweet, and he called me to his house, invited, and he had a nice tea party. He called Indians and everything. And Indians were, they asked me for one thing. It will be shocking. They said, "What about something to depend upon? You see, can we have your photographs or something? It must be having some vibrations. Should we use your photographs for our worship?" And the first I said that it's all right, it will work out, because I didn't want to say you have to take my photograph. So she was so disappointed, the lady. She said, "No, there must be a photograph, so something which we can use after all. How can that be?" Just a minute. And here, first thing comes up, like a big snake. Why mother's photograph? She should give us realization, she should solve our problems, solve our sickness, everything. But why her photograph? This is too much. In this, you can see the ego of the people. So sweet. Yeah. Now regarding ashram, I had asked him to make certain rules and regulations. And I must say that, of course, Nick should say things somebody told me that he should have been a little softer with it and all that. But supposing somebody is not softer also, you must know that this is sent by mother, and you must do it. You see, actually when you say no to him, you are saying no to me also, isn't it? Because I said to him, I told him. And I told him that you must carry out these things. If you do not allow him to carry out, he has to be perhaps strict. By softer means, supposing something fails, then what to do? But I really don't know. After realization, even if you do not do things, what should we do? Can you suggest? I mean, you should respect everyone. But say, even if you respect people, get up at 8 o'clock in the morning, then what should we do? What should be done? You just tell us. John? Tell me. I mean, it is really surprising. You are now prophets. Do you understand your quality? What are you? What have I given you? Then what should we do about it? See, these are so simple things, like children also. If you are in a hostel, you are made to get up in the morning, take your bath, get ready, walk out. I mean, if you do not listen, anyone, I mean, it's simple. Then what should one do with prophets? You just tell. This is not the problem in Australia. But Englishman going to Australia create problems. I have seen. Sally, what a problem, Bapre. You could see in contrast her ego, absolutely in contrast, I could see it clearly. Very mystical. Though she said that she was in, what place she was in? Jersey. And their booths caught her. But all the booths were egoistical. That's the point. Such a contrast, you know. If you have to move as one body, and you are enlightened, part and particle of the same body. Supposing this finger says, no, I will not do it. Now somebody is, say, putting a big attack or something, and this hand says, no, I will not work out. Then what to do? Actually, it's a very big dilemma for me. Because a hand which is forced to do it will never do it properly. If you don't force it, then what happens to that hand? I mean, just see, the diligence is very important. We should not take things for granted. You see, we take ourselves for granted, everything for granted is not proper. We have to work hard. We have to work it out ourselves. You see, even if you have 10,000 surgeries, what is going to happen? The quality is so poor there, isn't it? You have to get up in the morning, do it meditation, you have to grow still much more. And you know you are so very few. I have to use you only. Of course, nobody can force you. And even if you force, a forced labor is not going to help in Sahaja Yoga. That is, you take it from. It cannot. So these people are where do they stand? Now, anyone you tell the job, say Warren was in Australia. There was jealousies about it, terrible jealousies. Why should he tell me? But because there's nobody to tell you within yourself. That's the problem, is it? So that which is sleeping, I put it into one man, all right, this man is going to tell. But then that person tells you, then people feel jealous. I mean, these are not the signs of a prophet. A prophet is never jealous. Because he knows he has achieved his powers now. He is in his own power. And his power is of surrendering. It is not of overpowering. You see, you cannot see the other side of it. You think power means you sit on somebody's head, then I am very powerful. Like a woman, if she can make her husband dance to her tune, then she thinks, oh, I am the most powerful woman ever living. It's the other way around. That the woman is so loving that husband can't do without it. That sort of a power. So sweet that The husband cannot manage without her. That sort of a power should be the power of a prophet. And these things are very much deeply put into us. So face it up and take it up. Whole value system is upside down. I tell you, the whole value system is upside down. See my life, own life. As a wife of such and such and such, I'm expected to go into diamond shops, buy diamonds, become a big lady with heels like that, and walk with a neck like that, and do all sorts. This is the normal. It's expected. And shout at the chauffeur, and shout at the servants, and shout at everyone, and behave in that manner. That's what it is, the power is. You see, that's how the women express their husbands' positions. But the other way now is the situation of a prophet. The prophet asserts its powers through love. How much can you hate me? I love you double. Always. Whatever you will hate me, I'll love you double of that. Then what will happen? But to love, one has to sacrifice. One has to give. One has to bear. Love doesn't hang in the air. That's one thing people don't understand. Love is not only talking love, or if you are a little gentle to someone is not the point. But even that bearing is a joy, because ultimately you are doing it for love. If love is the joy-giving thing, then that bearing is not much. You are doing it for love's sake. See, because love, unless and it is shared, you cannot enjoy. So first we have to be strict with ourselves, I think, will be a good idea. And loving to others. That may be the way we might work it out. By God's grace, we have a very nice place as an ashram. We might get even better places. We are the God's own blessed people. No one can believe that we could have such a nice place. But what are we willing to do for it? That's the point we should say. Don't take things for granted. I must warn. I know England is the heart. But in God's realms, one can create many hearts. Not so difficult. So more harmony should be brought in. Even you'll be surprised in France. It's so harmonious and so beautiful. Find faults with yourself all the time. Now, under certain circumstances, I have to appoint somebody. Like I would say, very personally, I would say Nick, because Nick is doing no job nowadays. He's quite a systematic person. He's all right. This thing. He has some problems, I know. You too have problems, all right? But he's the one available today. And he's the one who is going to do it. Take one case. Now you must understand why mother has appointed somebody, all right. Accept it. Because there's a big dance on. They're trying to entertain. You see, look at this dancing. They are feeling the tenseness of the situation. So trying to entertain. That's it, that is love. See, they want to relax. They want to relax. They want you to feel nice, to be joyous. Look at that. In the same way, we should do. I'm sure now, henceforth. I think best thing is to make some poems. That may be a solution. Alright? Let's see. And let everybody start writing poems. It will be a good idea. And that will work out. I'll sing the song of praises. It's very little way, just a very little way, just there in your heart, besides the source of all the beauty. It's just turn your face towards that. That will work out. I'm sure it will work out. It's not very far away. Let her also stand there, she'll enjoy. Now another point was that you are going to go to that peace mission or something. What? Peace, what is that supposed to be?
Peace Festival was it?
No, in Brighton you are...
Peace Festival.
Peace Festival. Alright. And I am told Kay has written an article about it. Peace is... You know that peace is nothing without, it is within yourself. And if you can feel your peace, then only you can start feeling peace for others. Sahaja Yoga is the only way. There's no other way. You see? At the level of, say, take the position of Falkland now. Let's see, Falkland Island is a very immediate problem. Now, at that level, there's no solution. There's no solution. They are quite justified in attacking back Falkland because these people were illegally there, because that's not a democratic country. They have destroyed so many people of their own, so English were justified. Of course, my all support was for them because they were correct on the justice point. That's true. But justice is little half-baked. Because for whom to fight? These unrealized souls. They're right for what? Even if you have democracy, if it is demonocracy, what is the use of having democracy? I mean, if through democracy you are creating only demons, this demonic reign, then what's this of having democracy also? What about this so-called communism? All stupid people, to my eye. Everybody is stupid. And they cannot achieve anything at that level. You can say a little bit, yes, correct, after all, you see, that was the people were there, under democracy these people should have gone because they have killed so many people already in Argentina, they have no business, and of course despotic law is absolutely against Sahaja. So democracy is the best suited, no doubt. We have to support democracy. But even democracy for what? Why to have democracy? To have the higher freedom. If you cannot have higher freedom, and it just means abandonment, you see, democracy means that an old man can marry a young girl and all sorts of nonsensical things, then better not to have. So democracy is only suitable to people who are dharmic, who have established their dharma. Otherwise you really need a communistic country which will settle down your dharma, evolve out of it. But people think that democracy is for ruining your dharma. You have freedom to ruin your dharma as you like. You see, what's wrong? It's a very, you see, you cannot say, it's a dilemma again. I don't know which way to go. It's another dilemma. So to end up the dilemma, you have to talk to people. that though it might be justified at this time, say Falkland thing, aggression is for peace, because next time they won't do such a thing again. It's really for peace, because next time such a thing they may not try, these despots. And there are all these Germans have gone and settled there, so it's a good thing. But still, it's not peace. It has killed a lot of people, this thing has happened. Why? Because people are not realized it. Come inside. There's a lot of space here, move on. So all those people who come first should come on this. Can you move on this side? They're all standing there. So all these political institutions are a big joke without realization. They are not yet fully human beings, they are not fully developed because they have not found their spirit. You must find your spirit. Unless and until you have found your spirit, no problem is going to be solved. Once your problem is solved, that is to find your spirit, all other problems are solved. How now? What will happen? Let's see. What will happen if we establish a kingdom of the realized souls? Let's hear the scholar. What should happen? Of course, everybody will get up early in the morning, no doubt about it. Apart from that, that's the most difficult thing. Tell me, whatever you say will happen. So that's what I'm asking.
Nobody will attack such a state. Nobody will attack such a state.
There won't be any states. You see, God has not made any states. It's a madness. I tell you, when I was born, I was like, oh God, what has happened? See, God has not made any one of these things. It's a very different thing than what, you see, I expected. You see, God has made a beautiful land, all right, like this one sari like that. Now you have to have some design pattern. So He made some beautiful mountains and some nice, you can say, areas, and some are desert, some are, you see, to create the whole system, if you see, has worked out in such a way that you have equator and you have the sun there, so the winds start moving. You see, it's all created so beautifully. So you have different types of countries and different types of places. Now, after creating that, human beings, stupid as they are, they divided themselves. I mean, it is stupid. I tell you, really, there is no need to divide like that. So they created states. There was no need to create a state. But you see, it happened like this, that in the beginning they created state because they wanted to have a, what you can say, a hut to protect themselves, then a village, then a city, now a state. Now after state, what is the next situation? The whole world. Collective. This is the breaking through. Is one word. It is, I believe it. But to me, it's nonsense to see it in so many. I can't understand walking in the, this customs and all that, carrying your passport, that criminal number so and so. And apart from that, you carry your photograph. And then there are so many things. By the way, my passport is completely filled now. You have to get another one. It's like that. You see, everywhere you go, you look like a criminal. They look at your face and then they stamp you. All right, you are stamped. Go ahead. It's terrible. It's indignified. Absolutely. That means, human beings have no dignity left in them. I mean, this land doesn't belong. This land of God. You are of God, and the land is. Nothing belongs to you, actually, to be very frank. I'm sorry to say. It's true. So what is a state? It is stateless. But stateless also means there is state in it. I say this is one world. This is, has been, is, and will be. I mean, you may, in your myth, you see hallucination, think it is different and fight. I sometimes feel you are just fighting your shadows. You have created shadows and the shadows are fighting. And just to make the shadows fight, you fight, otherwise shadows won't fight. It's all a shadow. There's no truth in it. To me, it looks like that. It's all madness. What is there to? This is one world. Everybody is blessed by God. They all should enjoy His blessing. To enter into the kingdom of God. He is the king. He is the one who is the ruler. In His kingdom, there is nothing like a state. So that's a very different world we are entering into. There are no alternatives there. It's only one absolute state of mind where you become the spirit. That's all. There's not going to be any aggression. It's stupid to be aggressive. There's not going to be any suppression. Stupid to do that. Nobody is going to be suppressed and nobody is going to take any suppression. Everybody. Why? Do you find that in the nature? Nobody does that. It's a harmonious living in the nature, even in the animal kingdom. You see, they know that a tiger has to live on an animal. It's all right. That cattle has its own life, finished. Even they can understand the need, but human beings don't. Their need is of spirit. And spirit actually hates aggression. It cannot, even if it wants to, it cannot. It's indignified to aggress anyone for a spirit. Indignified, absolutely, it is wretched. So that is what it is. That we'll all enjoy love of God, His blessings. And all our limitations will drop out. So-called bhuts, as you call them, will all run away. It's a very different atmosphere of reality. This is all unreal. It's absolutely unreal. It's an illusion, I tell you. Because you know that Brahma, these divine vibrations, are doing everything. They are working out everything, even material things. Everything they can achieve. Apart from that, they give you that source of joy which takes you onto that atmosphere where you exist and enjoy. All the illusions created by human beings will drop out. This is all illusion. Believe me, it's all illusion. There is no truth in it at all. But through illusion, you can work out. It's a very interesting thing that only through illusion you can work out. Because when I'm talking to you, I have to keep an illusion of being here. Otherwise, you won't pay any attention, you won't see me, you won't know me, you won't talk to me. So you have to have an illusion. But I know this is illusion. That's all. Living in this world, in this illusion, if you know it's an illusion, that's done. You are going to be tomorrow's citizens. No doubt. Of a very high level. quality. The day will come when they will have to jolly well consult us. Already you have seen how I am playing tricks on the US. Did you hear the way the lady made mistakes, you see, the stupid things? Did you find that? I saw her photograph and I said, oh, this stupid woman, she just raised her hand like that. Now they are realizing that they don't know what happens to them, suddenly how they go amok. They'll all go amok. And then they will have to find out how they should be controlled. What has happened, how did it happen? All these tricks one has to play, with all of them. Now, after the last war, perhaps, people may not come out with very aggressive words, perhaps, maybe, because it will be unpopular. But they'll do such stupid things, see, to prove that they are good for nothing. All this can be done. But you must know it's an illusion, all of you, because you are different things. You are seeing through different eyes. You know what is Brahma is. So you must know. And raise your quality. Raise your quality. In normal life, supposing, see, like I'll say that somebody is a peon, then he dresses up in a particular way. Then he suddenly becomes an officer. Then he becomes a different style. As he walks in a different way, his gait changes, style changes. So now you have become prophets. The whole thing has to change. Either you don't accept this position, but if you are accepted this position and you are paid for it, then better be that. I mean, you can't dress up like a peon if you are an officer, can you? And it's all illusion, complete illusion. The whole thing is an illusion. All these kings of yours and queens are like dolls there before. Especially Mr. Pope, who came here. My grandson says, Mr. Pope came here. I said, Pope? He said, I'm sorry, pork. And he was talking all rubbish. I said, how do you know? Because all his chakras were catching. And he's supposed to be the Pope in charge. Now, Bishop of Canterbury. See, he's another funny man. I've seen him on the thing. He was agnostic about everything. I don't know, about Christ also maybe. He said, I'm agnostic. Any question you ask him, I'm agnostic. It's a very good escape he has got. You see, he's agnostic of about everything because he said it's a mystery to me. So what are you doing there? I mean, if it's a mystery to you, you are agnostic. I mean, I just don't understand how is it there. So some people have taken up upon themselves this crusade, I believe, to talk to you. I mean, how can you talk to your shadow? Can you? So the people live in the shadow state. And you should not symbolize yourself as shadows. You should symbolize yourself as reality and look at them as shadows, you see. In a way, in a very dignified way. Oh, this is a shadow, you know. Just pity them. But not an aggressive way, but have compassion about them. Say, no, sir, this is not so, you are sadly mistaken. This is the shadow of life. The whole Christianity is doomed because they started running after shadow. This Mr. St. Paul, I don't know how he came into Bible. Now you are a theologist, you tell me, John. How did he enter? I mean, anybody who says he saw Christ, is he supposed to enter into the Bible? How did he? I mean, his sayings and his words and his letters are regarded as the letters from the Bible. After Christ. Before Christ is all right, but after Christ. What is the validity? I don't understand. What is the credibility of this person entering into that as an authority. How? Well, nobody challenged him. He was a man who was killing so many people before. Then suddenly he becomes something and he starts saying, I'm doing Christ's work and this and that, and he writes letter to Karantikarans and all these people and all that. And why these letters that he writes becomes a Bible? Can you imagine? What did he do in his own lifetime? Half of it he spent in killing, and half of it is he was an impostor. I'm happy that it has come to your notice. But one can ask, why is he there? Now he started this charismatic thing, he is doing all this. I first saw it in India. There's a St. Paul's church. They're all possessed people, you know. One of my uncles was the priest of that. He was a very possessed man, very hot-tempered, horrible. And when I saw that, I wanted to see the St. Paul's Bible, what he has written about. I was amazed. But I said, let few people read and see for yourself. And this horrible charismatic movement is anti-God activity, absolutely anti-God activity. So, if you have to talk to the gentleman, you have to tell him about it, that it is possession. The Seventh-day Adventists and what are this Pentecost is nothing but that. Jamaicans are doing, all of them are great spiritually developed people, spiritually in the pub. I mean, there should be certain norms, isn't it, about a person who is supposed to be a prophet or something to do with God, you see. The world is coming to a position where they are understanding. But see, once they start disregarding, the danger is this. Once they start disregarding these things, because they are myths and falsehood, they will disregard also God and all the truth about God. They can become communists. That's the easiest way. Then there is no return. It's a dangerous situation. When you talk to him, you have to tell him, warn. Already your churches are selling here. Nobody goes to church. Now about the environment. They are having a meeting on environment. That too is only solved through spirit. All environment problems can be solved only spiritual, if you have spiritual assent. Otherwise you can't. You try anything, it's like patching up the sky. See now, it's a very deep-rooted thing that we don't understand, that spirit is the most practical thing. You see, we think spirit, we think it's like a drunkard. No? Spiritual man is a cult. He's a drunkard. He's most abnormal, funny. Either he hates people or runs away from them. This is the idea we have got about the spiritual person. But just see, you are spiritual. You will find it impossible to use plastics after some time. Because you will know that the plastics give you horrid vibrations. After some time, you find it repulsive. It's all right to sit in a train for a while on a plastic coach. All right. But to sit in your house on a plastic all the time would be horrible. And to wear a plastic coat all the time, our body will refuse. So when people will be spiritually awakened, they'll give up all these nonsensical things. So they may say, then what will happen to the machines? Now machines are for us, we are not for the machines. This is another concept, is whatever create is for us, and we are not for that. Alright, doesn't matter. Nothing will go wrong with the machines. Machines should be used for anything that is a public work, like for your motor cars, for your trains, trams, all public work which is outside. For houses at the most, you can use machines. But for personal things, you must use handmade. Handmade. For spiritual people would like to wear something that is handmade or real. When I can't wear a nylon sari, not that I am very fussy about it, but I just can't wear. After some time, if I do not take out my socks, which are only nylon, what to do? My vibrations get jammed completely. So you won't be able to wear next to your skin, near your body, eating your food, everything in plastics, cooking in plastics. I mean, it's too much. Thank God, cooking I don't think is possible, isn't it? But aluminium is another thing. It's very bad. Aluminium, you won't be able to do. You'll either try copper or brass and things. Now, handmade things we have because they are made by hand, so they have vibrations. People would like to have handmade. It is a part. So, by that, you remove the disparity of the world. Developing countries can do handmade things. You cannot beat them with computers, can you? You go ahead mad with your computers. You will have to come back. Must understand the whole. If you don't understand the whole, this is what is happening. Like mad, computers going ahead. Where? Into the ditch? Into a big mountain. Now they have created big mountains of plastic. They don't know what to do with it. So, and now with computer, what will they do? They'll create a greater mountains out of plastics. Maybe Himalaya might be created with the computer. So the developing countries should not try to follow these mad people on one side. They should develop their hand things and all that because they'll have to come back. Now the handmade things in this country are so important and so expensive. You don't care whether it is pressed or not. But in India you have to take nylons because nylons is a symbol of development. Not of overdevelopment perhaps, but of development. So they must take to nylons and plastics and to stainless steel and aluminium if possible. That's what we are doing. When you have less things consumed like that, you use less things from your motherland. Because handmade you cannot go on mad like a machine goes like a Rakshasa, eating away everything and producing more. It has to live like that. It is not economical. So when you have handmade things, you have more value for your things, you look after them better, you feel better, you are comfortable, and you need not be that smart, machine made. That idea of smartness is going now. So the developing countries should also learn a lesson. They are going after they are running fast. They try to run faster, they cannot. Thank God, they cannot. But they should stick on to that side. One part of the country has to do something, another part has to do something else. But you people have to look after the side of machines, all right. I mean, handmade things, what can you make? Some ceramics, I think. Apologies. Some apologies for that. You better do what you know better. And let them do what they can do better and share. If this balance is established, there is no aggression. Unemployment can be solved. All the problems can be solved if you take to handmade things. We should take to handmade things. As far as possible, Sahaja yogis should use handmade things. I mean, not the cars, but for their personal use. Even I would say soaps that you use are horrid. The soaps that you get in England are not meant for your skins at all, for Sahaja yogis. I can't bear it. What you have to is natural soaps that you get from any country if you like, but natural soaps. which come from natural oils. Foods also, natural food you must eat, more natural food than artificial. All that will give you a better living, and that is called as alternative. All right, that's alternative is important. But that doesn't mean you go on a bullock cart. You can export your trains to India or your cars to India and get khadi from there. All right? Mutual understanding. Because we are part and parcel of one whole. And we just cannot exist by our only growth, because then we become malignant, you see. One cell feeds another. You have to, if you have a machinery, you have to eat other. Because you produce so much, you must find markets for them, you must supply them, you must send over, then you must have other countries to exploit them. People have tremendous respect for Mahatma Gandhi, but I don't know if people understand what he said about machinery. That doesn't mean the people who are doing machine work should give up by any chance. But some of them they can close down. For example, plastic toys for children is horrifying. You can't even get wood toys now. Nothing, just plastic. They're touching plastic. I mean, imagine you cannot feel any plastic. So, this is what a sane Sahaja has to understand. That's how you can solve the problem of environment also. Thank God, somehow with your affluence and too much of machinery, all the Western people, I'm happy to know, even in Portugal, realize the value of handmade. But in India, if you offer somebody in a handmade thing, they say, oh God, they have no money. But stainless steel, great. In a stainless steel glass, they'll give you tea. You see, it's very big. If you give it in a ceramic, what is village craft? They are to be told. But if you create a demand, they'll be all right. They'll look after their handmade. And here you can't do much. I've seen, you see, that neatness, that deftness is not there. That's lacking now. You lost it. Very few people have that left in them. Even if they have to cut one coat with their hands, they cannot. They have to use a machine which cuts 25 coats at a time. Then this problem of you have to have a figure, exactly, because these only can fit certain figures. You can't have your own independent figure. This is all machine-like stuff, you see. You all must have that figure, otherwise it doesn't fit it. So that is an ideal figure. So everybody works out for that. See, there's a new machinery comes up, you see, for that kind of a thing. Then new styles to come up. It's such an artificial thing. All man-made, artificial. From your democracy, your politics, to your economics, to all your so-called ideas of creativity, everything becomes so artificial. Now people can't paint. What they paint, if you see, you are just aghast, you don't know what is this supposed to be. And it is supposed to be this, but it looks, there's a hand, isn't it? Can't you see that? Yes, I can. Let me show you. They can't do anything. We can't have Shakespeare. We can't have Gagi. We can't have anyone of that time. We can't have Abraham Lincoln. We can have only machines, you see, bolts and nuts fitted nicely. You fixed, you are fixed, you are fixed, you are fixed. Everybody fixed nicely. Where will this brain go? Where will this heart go? What will it do then? It cannot collapse. I mean, as long as you are existing, the heart has to beat. So all this artificiality has to be overcome by Sahaja. The responsibility is so great. Such a big building you have to bear on your shoulders. And the foundation stones have to get up in the morning. to be chiseled out properly. So I end up my lecture today. May God bless.
Mother is somebody very special, as we found in Australia, and I hope that all of you will get to know within yourself her being, and that chance to become the self is what it's all about. This is self-realization, actualization of self-realization. It's not talking about it, it's not lectures about it, it's not a whole course in the process of self-realization. What happens in Mataji's presence is an actualization. It's something that happens spontaneously, it's something that happens very sweetly and very painlessly, and it's something which is very perceivable in your own awareness, in your own conscious awareness. When, through the grace of Mother, in the presence of another realized soul, this latent energy that lies within each one of us, in the sacrum, in the triangular bone at the base of the spine, when that rises through the subtle bodies that you can see on the chart, it passes through the centers which we call as chakras, and when at the very top of the head, the last center, it passes, this is the point at which you become one with your spirit. This is the point at which you become a realized soul. It's what's been described in all the scriptures as self-realization. In the Hindu scriptures, path. In all of them, it's the same thing. Christ described it as being born again. It's been referred to so many times, over and over, and now, believe it or not, the time has come for us to get it. It is hard to believe. This is the hardest part, frankly, which we in Australia, you people here in London, and people all over the world find that to actually believe with this thinking, rational mind that we have, that you have got it. And so the Divine has given us a technique. The Divine has given us some form of perception which allows us to verify the experience within our own conscious awareness. And that perception method is vibratory awareness. At the point at which this Kundalini, when she rises and passes through this point, called the Sahasrara chakra, when it happens, you begin to feel the vibrations of the Divine. You begin to feel the Chaitanya that was referred to in the Hindu scriptures. You feel the Ruh referred to in the Muslim scriptures. And you feel the cool wind of the Holy Spirit referred to in the Christian scriptures. And when this happens, you actually feel it. A lot of people become a little skeptical and they say, oh, well, maybe the doors were open, or maybe the air conditioning was on, or maybe. All of these ifs and buts of the ego are little problems that we often have to face when new people get their realization. But it is real. It does happen. It is an actualization. And you can feel it. You begin to feel the most amazing cool vibrations flowing across your hand. You feel the vibrations coming from the top of your head. You feel perhaps like a shower of cool vibrations flowing down from the top of your head, as if over and through your body. And when this happens, you know with absolute certainty that something very special has happened. And when this happens, another thing very, very important takes place. As well as this experience, you also become collectively conscious. This sounds like technical jargon, but it's an actual experience in your own process of developing realization. On your fingertips, you develop a monitor system which allows you to decode those chakras which are clear and those chakras which are blocking a little due to damage which has been caused over our life or even over our lives. On our fingertips we start to feel either the cool vibrations or some form of negative experience which we might describe as burning or stinging, pricking, some sort of abnormal sensation other than the cool wind, other than the cool vibrations, which, as I say, are very real and very detectable, especially if this chakra is clear. So, when you get your realization, you also get a technique built into you over all your lives, but which then manifests as a very real working technique within your own capacity to use and to manipulate. You become collectively conscious. What does this mean? It means you use this decoding system to monitor collectively what is happening about you, what is happening within your own chakras, what's happening in the chakras of others, what's happening in this room. You walk into a room and you feel a big flow of vibrations if you're in the presence of realized souls. You feel not such good vibrations if you walk into a room where the vibrations are those of not such positive people. Collectively conscious, though, means something a lot more than that. Because we have come from spirit into this form which we call matter, and back to which we are returning, when we get our realization, we become one with the Absolute. We become one with the Divine. We become one with the Creator, whatever terminology we like to use. And when this takes place, we find that by putting our attention on another person, we know which of the centers are catching, which of them are a little blocked, which are in need of some attention. So we can help with the process of developing realization, helping another person. You can help yourself by clearing the chakras within yourself. You can start to work it out in a very practical way, in other words, so that when you get your realization, it becomes a very dynamic thing. We know where we're catching, we know what chakra has to be cleared, and ultimately we begin to maneuver it, manipulate it in such a way that we develop more and more of this Kundalini which rises, so that instead of it being just a few strands, which occurs at the beginning when you first get your realization, this becomes a tremendous experience of Kundalini rising such that you feel the full force of Kundalini pouring from the top of your head. It actually happens in that way. You can feel it in quite a dramatic way above the heads of other people. And this experience is very satisfying. And this is one of the amazing things, that after self-realization, you take these things for granted. You take these things for granted. You go into a shop and you buy music or recordings or something on vibrations. You use your vibrations in a very practical, accepting way. It's not a head trip. It's not understanding something. It's not an emotionally high of any kind. It's an actual, inner, silent experience which happens in your own awareness. Neither do you become blissed out in the sense in which it was used in the States and I suppose in this country 10 or 15 years ago. You don't experience this euphoria of an emotional high, because that's basically what this left side of our subtle body is all about. Nor do you experience some sort of tremendous power trip. Nor do you start jumping around and shaking or feeling tremendously powerful. You just become. You just become. And more than anything else, that becoming is a very silent experience. It's the joy. It's the silence. It's the experience of all of those things that are indescribable in words, which in all the scriptures have been spoken of in so many ways, but which cannot be put, in fact, into words. You don't get it in the full experience at first. You get it little by little. It depends really upon the instrument itself. If this subtle body within you is in good shape, basically the experience will be a fairly strong one. If you've led what we might choose in the West to call a righteous life, what in the East they call a dharmic life, if you've led this type of life, these chakras will be in good condition. And the Kundalini will take off like a jet. And it will rise with a lot of force. And the cleansing process will be much quicker. In others, where we've damaged ourselves quite severely, whether it's through going to false gurus, whether it's going to all sorts of nonsensical behaviours, whether it's due to licentious behaviour in our sex life, or whatever it is, whether we've been reading too much, or thinking too much, or planning too much, whatever it is, all of these things are going to cause some obstruction. But still Kundalini will rise, because the grace of God is overflowing. Mataji Nirmala Devi is the Divine Mother. She's the one who's come on this earth with all her powers, with all her love, for one reason. And that is to trigger us into this awareness which all of us have as our birthright. We have the Kundalini within us. It just has to be triggered into some form of perceivable process of enlightenment. We have the chakras inbuilt within us. But more than anything, we have the Atma, the Spirit, the silent witness through all our lives, which is just waiting for the moment to meet the eternal Atma, the all-pervading Spirit of God. This grain of divinity which lies within each one of us has to meet and become part of the all-pervading energy of God, from which it has become disconnected in this human existence. So, when Kundalini rises, in fact, it puts you in touch with your spirit. It puts you in touch with reality. It puts you in touch with Almighty God. Whatever damage has been done, whatever extremes to which we've exposed ourselves, whatever in this field we have done to damage our chakras, where we haven't paid attention to our spirit, where our egos have become over-bloated, where we've tended to live in the past in our emotional state, whatever it is, all of these things start going down, the cleansing takes place, the dissolving of the negativity takes place, the ego starts to shrink, and that's rather nice, because over and over again we meet people whose ego is almost unrecognizably out of control. We live by our ego, we live by thinking, we live by dominating others, we live by hanging on as if by our fingernails at the edge of a well. Quite often we've been deeply depressive people, or deeply psychotic people, or deeply damaged people by the confusion of modern life. And so, either through a psychiatrist or through our own reaction, defensive action, we are hanging on and we get ourselves into the ego. We cling on by using what we call our right side, the side where we turn everything into a mental exercise. And this is very, very dangerous, because we start to think that this is reality. In fact, the ego and the superego is the negation of reality. Because you see those two channels, on the left side and the right side, the blue one leads to what we call the superego, the yellow one leads to the ego, and in the center is the channel which, if you can see, is broken at the point in what we call the void. You see the Kundalini curled up at the base of the spine in the sacrum. This is an energy. Don't forget that this diagram is purely illustrative and it has no bearing on reality in fact. The Kundalini sits at the base of the spine. And until in the presence of an authorized person, a realized soul, and particularly in the presence of Mother, that energy uncoils itself and rises through the subtle body and closes that gap that we call the void and passes chakra by chakra through to the Sahasrara chakra, and when it does, it connects you to the divine, as I've explained. Now, that Kundalini that's sitting there is, in fact, the Holy Spirit within each one of us. Is, in fact, the energy, the power of Almighty God, which lies within each one of us. A difficult concept to come to terms with, so don't try. Just be open-minded about these things and see for yourself if it works. But I'm just telling you a few things that might help clear up a lot of the questions which may come into your mind when Mother comes to speak. This energy is the Holy Spirit within each one of us. That again has been referred to in the scriptures. It's been referred to in all the scriptures. The Spirit lies in the heart, that flame that is eternal, that grain of God which lies within each one of us. So when the female energy of Kundalini rises and meets with the male energy, which is the upright, those two energies combine and we become our spirit. We become our spirit. We touch reality. We become one with Almighty God. And all we have to do from that point onwards is to simply develop the experience that we get. Because you see, unlike in the past, we don't get it fully. It's available to everyone. It's available freely. But we have to do something about it after we get our realization. In fact, if you squander it, if you don't treat it with the preciousness that it deserves, it will go down and you'll lose the realization that has happened. So it's a very subtle experience, but it's a very real experience, and yet it's an experience that you have to develop and work on assiduously and sincerely after you get your realization. Mataji is here. We'll just sit quietly in meditation until she comes in and she'll speak to you. I hope that you all get it. I'm sure you will. Just enjoy the experience and be in the silence. Just enjoy.
Nice to be back again in Hampstead. I always enjoyed Hampstead. Because as I have told you, in London, many people who were great spiritual lived in this area. They preferred it to other places. So, I believe that many people who live in this area must be also spiritual, must have taken their birth with the idea of achieving their self-realization. It's very important time when you are born. It's the most important in the history of the universe. You have created a human being to become your spirit. There's nothing in between. If you have intelligence, pure intelligence, you can see through all that. You have to test your intelligence on this. Whatever we think, whatever we conceive, and whatever we try to organize ourselves into, mostly comes from our conditionings. not from the spirit, because we have not touched the spirit. But innately, we have got a sense to know that these are very important times, that there must be something great in the atmosphere, that there are so many people who are seeing. It's something remarkable. I mean, if this misses your attention, that means you are not alert. There are people of all types, all kinds, but seekers of this caliber have been very few. Now, England has its own problems and London has its own peculiarities. Despite the fact I have been in London for about now 8.5 years, I feel that the reception of the truth has been very, very poor. Maybe I am luckier than others. Is the conditioning, again I would say, of another type that prevails the minds. First we had, say about 25 years back, the conditioning of the science. But scientists themselves have refuted it. They themselves have challenged the science. And they themselves know that it's not such a happy affair just to be a scientist. Then comes the intellectuals. The books started pouring in the market. All kinds of books. You can read about everything. Everyone knows about everything. And once you start reading about them, you conceive something. Your conceptions are built about the truth also. The thing you have never seen, the thing you have never felt, you cannot conceive it. It is to be seen. Like I had never seen Hampstead before. And the first idea of my husband was to buy a house in Hampstead. Surprising. I was very happy at that point. So I said, let's go and see. Without seeing it, if I had some conception about it, it would have been wrong. My seeing is different from others, I must say. I like the place immensely. But he, from the point of view distances and all that, he said it's not good, and naturally his ideas prevail, doesn't matter. But seeing itself makes you understand. But what is self-realization? It's not only seeing. When you come to Hampstead, you don't see it. You feel it. You feel it. Now many people say you can feel. But the idea of feeling is also quite conditioned. Like, you see, some children like to cuddle a little doll. They feel the doll. But God knows how far they feel. They might be feeling it physically, or emotionally also they might be feeling some sort of a security with the doll. Maybe psychologically they might be deriving some joy out of that doll itself, or maybe the image which has some sort of a attraction of some sort of a thing that is built within their unconscious, that they feel so close to that. But a person who is a realized soul does not feel a doll that way, even if it's a child. It's surprising. You must watch a realized child getting to a doll. It's very surprising. For example, I bought 2 dolls from London for my grandchildren, and they rejected completely. They said, what sort of dolls these are? I said, why? They are unhappy. I said, they are not unhappy. No, see their lips. See, the lips of the dolls here is all just like a duck's beak, you see. They said they have resentment. They are angry. They are not realized. That's it. If you are a happy person, the whole get-up of your face changes. And they could see, they could feel it. They rejected, we don't want these dolls. And then next time when I had to go round the whole place. First of all, they're plastics, so plastics they don't like. They don't like plastics. Somehow realize people don't like plastics automatically. They wouldn't wear plastic clothes, they wouldn't wear nylon clothes, they wouldn't wear mixed clothes. Very difficult. They must have cotton clothes. Even if they have one, they'll wear that the whole day, morning, evening, every time the same thing. You see, it's a different sensitivity which we do not have before realization. They have a different sensitivity. And the coefficients of a doll which emits vibrations, they like. It's very difficult to get such dolls nowadays, impossible. Because where are these artists who were realized souls who used to make dolls? I've seen they make their own dolls out of something, sometimes my saris they will use or something, and sleep in those. It's something to be understood that after realization, the thing you feel is not what you feel through your heart or through your conditioning, of ages also maybe. Like if you have been living with a woman for many years with blue eyes, then you may like a doll with blue eyes, you may, because you have that image in your head. You may like, or you may have a nanny with blue eyes, you may like a doll like that. It's all psychological, it's conditioning very deeply. But spirit has no conditioning, it's a free thing. What does it feel? It feels the joy of creation, which we cannot. Before realization we cannot feel. You see, when we see something, where is the joy? Now, for example, if a fussy man comes here, we say, oh God, what a thing. I had to take out my shoes and sit like that, and the chairs were horrible, and couldn't say, very uncomfortable, and the color was all white, I couldn't bear it, and I don't know, all sorts of things. The thoughts will start. If you buy something, same thing. If you see something, same thing. There's no joy. You just start thinking. Or if not, to avoid that, you may start a poetry about it. It's sometimes so artificial, some of the poetry, so artificially put there that you can see it clearly that this man is just a sadist, wants to make you cry, like Lord Byron. You can see it so clearly that this man has no sincerity of purpose. He's not sincere. That sincerity you cannot feel unless and until you realize. Because such a poem you won't like at all, whether you understand the language or not. The whole tone of it will emit horrible vibrations. Is absolutely the essence of everything is nothing but vibration. Everything is nothing but vibration. The rest is all zero. We are nothing but our vibrations which are emitted because we are now connected with the spirit. But otherwise also, whether you are connected with spirit or not, you emit vibrations. But these are the vibrations without the light in it. And you can feel the vibrations of a person out and out. You can feel how? You can feel on your centers. All your centers become active and you start feeling on your centers. That means all these 5 centers, 6, 7 centers, you start feeling. Even you may not feel in your fingers. Some of us Sahaja yogis may not feel also even today after so many days because their Vishuddhi chakra is very bad. They must have smoked in, I think, 10 lives, you see. And must have been horrible Vishuddhi chakra, and maybe that's why it's all on the myelin sheath of the nerves that you cannot feel it. That's a different point. But you'll feel it on your centers. And the feeling on the center is emitted in your nervous system. And when it comes to it, you feel it on your centers. And you know, you just know. And you know it as vibratory awareness. This vibratory awareness has to grow, no doubt. This sensitivity has to grow, no doubt. But first you must touch it. If it has not even touched, then how can it grow? But we are so conditioned that we take to things which superficially are very appealing. Sahaja Yoga is not like that. It's truth, it's reality. Of course, you cannot pay for reality. I mean, how can you pay? If it is reality, you cannot pay for it. That's one simple thing. You cannot artificially say you are realized. You cannot. Even if you say, there was a girl, I met her in Portugal, mischievous one. And she wanted to stick on with the Sahaja Yogis because she was very negative and she wanted to disturb Sahaja Yogis. She came to the program. And she told me, oh, I'm feeling very well, mother, I'm feeling vibrations. I just looked at her, I kept quiet because I knew she was not. I didn't say anything, I didn't want to create trouble. But second day when she turned up, I said, why are you telling me lies? No. I said, yes. They are telling me lies. You have to be sensitive. What are you going to be? Say you are mischievous, you are playing into the hands of negative forces. What is your gain? You are the spirit. The spirit is within you. You have to become the spirit, is your own joy, is your own property, is your own self, which is not known. Why not be honest about it and get to it instead of playing tricks with yourself and then playing tricks with other Sahaja Yogis? What's the use? What is the gain? Why are you playing in the hands of satanic force? Why don't you play into the hands of the divine force? She said, no, mother, I'm feeling it. I said, see, don't tell me lies. I know for definite you're not feeling it. And if you're not going to be honest, you're not going to come to my program at all. You have to be honest to yourself. If you're not honest, I'm not going to have you here. But this honesty sometimes reaches a very absurd limit. Because honesty is only up to which point you can see. Say you can see the color is white, all right. Up to that you are honest. But if you start saying, I know who has painted and I know who has done the job and I know who's the company and all that, that's not true. So honesty is up to the point you know. Beyond that, if you start saying things because you have read somewhere something or you have heard something, that's wrong. That's not being honest. So we have to have honesty and open-mindedness. You have to be open-minded and honest so that you see for yourself. Because as I told you, it's not like other places where you can just go and become members, nothing. First, you have to get your realization. Secondly, you have to grow into it. Those who cannot do will be left out. You can't help it. How far can you go with people? How far can you tell them? You see, there's no binding force. You are completely free to leave it or to take it. If you want to take it, well and good. If you don't want to take it, no one is going to force you at all in this, because you cannot force. You can force a horse to eat, that is possible. But you cannot force any human being to be a realized soul. You cannot. Not only that he has to ask for it, but he has to later on work for it. It's a tremendous thing you are asking for, and it's the greatest thing that you are achieving. It is made easy, I should say. The times are such. It looks easy, but it's not so easy. In Sahaja Yoga, there are more dropouts than sticking people. Naturally. Because you have to be honest. You have to be very honest with it. And you have to give a try. Like in Spain, I met about 5, 6 ladies and 2 men who came to see me. When I came out, I was very reluctant to have anything to do with that. But you see, other Sahaja Yogis were so impressed, I don't know why. Oh, mother, they're so good, you don't know, they came and looked at your photograph and they did this and all that. I said, no, it's all right if you want to try, but somehow I don't think much is going to work out. And they thought they had found such a great bunch of people, you see, who are real Sahaja Yogis of the thing. I said, did you see the vibration? He said, no, mother, we were waiting for you. I said, all right, doesn't matter. We'll have a look at that. And they said, first question they asked, mother, why is it Sahaja Yogis don't smoke? I said, because they don't want to. I mean, is that a question to ask? I mean, if you smoke, is it very normal? I just couldn't understand this question. She said, no, we don't want to lose our freedom of smoking and freedom of drinking. I said, do you think you are free? You are a slave. You can't give up even if you want to. I can free you from that. Or your Kundalini can free you, but you cannot. Even if you want, you cannot give up. But here they just give up. I don't tell them, I never force them. But just happens. Because if you get the nectar of life, you don't care for other nonsensical things. It's simple as that. But they were so frightened with the Sahaja Yogi style of life, means they don't smoke and drink every night. They said, it's impossible. They gave up. Can you imagine? And the first talk we had. But then we had people, such tremendous characters, came for the program. I was so very happy, extremely happy and joyous. Everybody said, Mother, why? They were little sometimes, not so much receptive, maybe according to Sahaja Yogis. But I could feel my vibrations sucked into them, absolutely flowing, the energy just getting into them. And suddenly they said, got it. And tremendous people, very well educated also some of them, but extremely well versed about what we had to achieve. I was surprised. In Spain, there are people who know Sanskrit so well, and about everything about Chaitanya and all that. They know so well. It's most surprising, and I used to think only scholarships exist in England. No, I was surprised. All of them knew about chakras, they knew about what it means, everything they have sorted it. I said, when did you start? They said, about when we were, I think, 10 years of age. I said, 10 years of age? How? He said, we just couldn't be satisfied with what was the answer is here. Such grown-up people, I said. From 10 years of age, so many of them, and you should have seen the way they were. And they recognize Sahaja Yoga and the tremendous effect it has, and the work that it is doing. You will be amazed the way these people behaved towards Sahaja. Then I said, next time, I'm not staying in London, Spain. No, really I tell you. This is the kind of reception. There's no barrier at all in their minds. It's such pure intelligence, sharp. To see this is the thing. Where are we running? You see, and really I felt that 8 years I've wasted in this country. That time, really for a moment, I just felt, oh God. But you know the importance of this country is so great because it's the heart of the universe. I have to labor through it and such lethargy and such inertia. And extra intellectuals have a very good, you see, easy chair way of looking at things. Very easy chair way of looking at things. Easy chair politicians there, see. Well, it's very interesting. Many times I've heard. It's very interesting, you know, Mother, what you've given us. Very nice, yes. It's very fun. But there, for them, it was a heavenly gift because they knew what it was. What's the use of all the scholarship of Lord Byron when you can't recognize Christ? When you can't recognize the truth? What's this education for? I was amazed at these people. They never went to Cambridge and they were not Oxbridges. Most surprising, you know. And they were people, great intelligence, very well versed, and in Spain. Can you imagine? Same, I will say, of Italy. Italians are supposed to be very dishonest, this, that I've heard. Nobody was dishonest with me, as far as I'm concerned. Very upright, straightforward, and tremendous people. Just my photograph convinced them. Is it the face shows? They hate the Pope, they hate the papal things, they know all about Pope, everything they know. They have sorted out everything. But to know so much about chakras and things, I was amazed. They knew about Tantrism, they knew that Hitler used Tantrikas, they knew that Hitler used all these things. Actually, they told me, so I was amazed, how did they know? I dare not say this before, because everyone who is following all these Tantrikas would have been angry with me, but that's what Hitler did. And so much they knew. One of the boys was just you can call him a hippie or whatever you may. He went on the street shouting, "Oh, Mother has come now, the Mother has come, the Holy Mother has come, what are you doing? Come along to the program." He was shouting on the street like Eureka. And a learned man in the real sense of the word. It's such a pleasure to talk to them. See, such a pleasure, I tell you. I think it's time that English should come down a little. Really. Australia, again, just look at Australians. They are supposed to be convicts. Supposed to be. I can't understand. You see, this high-handedness, or we can call it condescendingly, to wash something is not proper. Is not proper. You must come down in humility, otherwise things will not work. I can tell you. You have to humble down. You see, you have, all right. We have Hampstead, so what? We have Blake, so what? What have we done to Blake? Can you understand? Do you know who he was? Do you know what he wanted to say? What he wanted to communicate? He even in his program where I went to see his beautiful paintings, people were watching how many nude women and nude men he has produced. With all this and this level, I just couldn't understand it. You must understand holiness. You must understand auspiciousness. You must understand sublime things. Something great that is beyond just now, but is within your reach because you are sublime. You are not a low-level animal. You are sublime. You are the spirit. Unless and until you really assume that situation with that pride and glory. To God, you are nothing. You are just zero, useless. And this is what I find always. New people coming, even in your Hampstead, Malta, and they just disappear. You see, it's like one lecture is free, all right, let's go and see Mother, that's all. All these experience, even in a country like Portugal. The way people have done, Sahaja is remarkable. I go there for 3 days only. Only for 3 days in a year, I must have gone there only twice so far. Look at them. Young people taken up responsibility, working it out for their country. So must they understand of auspiciousness. How have we lost all that sense of holiness and auspiciousness? We are running after people who are collecting money from you, giving you a circus. How can you not find out that this is not the truth, that you have to be the truth, that you are something great? Why can't we assume that situation? We are not our ego. No, we are not. We are the spirit, the sublime, the great. And that's what I find. Many new people coming, then they disappear, then they come after 10 days, then after they come after 1 month, they have this problem, that problem. Why not grow? When are we going to grow? When are we going to become fully that? Time is very short, my children. Time is very, very short. Believe me. Some people advise me, Mother, you have to be very strict and all that. I don't know how a mother could be strict. What should I do? Because, you see, you cannot force it on anyone. You see, the problem, my helplessness is, I cannot force it on you. This is a big problem. You must understand this. You are seekers of very great times. Born in this great country of yours, but so much conditioned. This is for you to take it within yourself what you are and to achieve that. This is something cannot be forced. I cannot mischievously do something or cleverly do something or cunningly say something to convince you. It is not that. It is something that has to happen within you. That you have to be something more than what you are. Is that concern of mine? Because it's my job. That keeps me here. You must know your real self, which is seeking, which is seeking the truth. It will never be satisfied with all these monkey tricks that people are indulging into. It's no monkey tricks. You don't become a monkey like dancing, jumping, singing. This is not. In your awareness, in your central nervous system, you should feel the presence of your spirit. That's it. If you have discarded Christianity, like some people write to me, Mother, I have many problems. First begins with Christianity. Where do you land? Even if you discard Christianity, you can't do without Christ. Christ is there. I mean, Christ is our soul. We cannot do without Him. Then you come into another thing. Then you fall into another trap. Then fall into another trap. You miss the essence of it every time you fall into these peripheries. Essence is in the center of it, and that center is within you, is your spirit. You may ask me 100 questions, I'll give you 200 answers. Makes no difference at all, I tell you. It is of no weight, of no availability to you of any goodness out of it. Believe, you have to be what you are. Unless and until that happens and you establish it within yourself, it's such a waste of life, waste of this creation. Everything I feel wasted. So I have to request you again and again. Of course, in London now there are some very great surgeons, no doubt. We have. But the way it has been progressing, if I were in any other country, I tell you, things would have been very different. I can assure you this. Any other country. America, I've been there only once. Can you believe it? Long time back, that too for about 4 or 5 days. And this time when I went, I was hardly in any place for more than 3 days. Say, Houston, hardly for 3 days, and how many people there are? I mean, you don't know? Ask him, he'll tell you. What's wrong with us? Let's see. I just can't understand. Why we can't grow? Why can't we give up our conditionings easily and take the truth and get into it? We don't understand. Is it the importance of this time, the vital nature of this happening? Or have we lost that sense of seriousness where an emergency of this kind has arisen today, which we don't feel or fathom? Or we just think that it's just a joke going on? Or our life we treat is just like a joke or a frivolous thing? What is it? I still can't understand. What stops that growth? Beyond me. The land is fertile. You do. I have not sown my seeds in a wrong land. I know that. But it doesn't grow. It doesn't grow. It doesn't take shape. What's the matter? Today, there are new people. I'm happy to know that I have to make a humble request to all of you. If you have to come to Sahaja Yoga, you have to be people who have to understand that reality is not a joke. It's not a frivolous thing. You have to become a realized soul, and you have to grow in the light of that realization. And you have to master this art. We need now masters all over. Not that somebody else is your master, but you become your own master. Such people are needed to channelize the energy of God. I'm sure Warren must have told you all about it. He's another great character I have. Very proud of him. The way he feels responsible for the whole world. The way he came down. He sacrificed so much. So much. I mean, I don't need any money from anything as such. But even money-wise, I'm sure he must have done something. I don't know because I've never taken any money from him as such, but even there I'm sure. He established an ashram, he established people, he got to them, he worked it out. I mean, it's remarkable and how people followed him, seeing him the way he is. He doesn't have any private life left except for to enjoy this privacy of the spirit with others. And if you see his background, he'll tell you that he knew he was a seeker. But in the seeking he committed so many mistakes. But look at his sensitivity. He knows where the Kundalini is, he knows how to correct it, and not him, but most of the people from Australia know it so well. It's nothing mundane. It would be very sad and unhappy if you people get your realization and lose it and do not develop into it. I don't know what would be the category of such people whom God has given the light and they didn't give light to anyone. I don't know. What should be the position? Today I am rather concerned, very much concerned, because I have come back from these 3 countries. I was amazed. France, tremendous. French people, I used to always say that these les miserables and all that. Nothing of the kind, There's a priest who got his realization. He formed an association called Saving the People from Gurus. Very clever. And he's a priest still, see. But he's a surgeon. Out and out. And what he does, those people who go to him and tell against Christianity, said, why don't you go to Sahaja? Anybody whom he saves, he sends them to Sahaja. All that. But the other day he said, Mother, why should we have Pope anymore? And he stays in the church and works for Sahaja. Can you beat that? Because he thinks he has to save people who are enslaved. He does that. We have people of that caliber. Another one we met, another one, very great one, in Portugal. He told me that the TM gentleman wanted to establish his kingdom in Portugal. He's bought a very big land and all that. And he told me all the secrets. He said, I am going to talk to the people who are in charge here. They're sensible. I said, really? Are you sure? I said, if you go and talk to anybody here in Mintmore, they'll not listen. They're very satisfied with the yards of black suits they are wearing. And with the so-called idea of sitting on a gold-gilded chair. See, all that stupidity. He said, no, not in Portugal. They're very sensible people. They realize it. I'm going to talk to them. Because they are all suffering. So early, only 3 years they have been doing. They are all suffering on the left side. Their ears are finished, somebody's eyes are finished, somebody's problem is on the left side, somebody has a problem on the left void and all that. I cured, of course. But they said all of us are suffering. That means they are very sensitive also to suffer so fast. And they are realizing, they are reaching all of them, even their administrators and everybody is realizing that there is some sort of a nonsense going on in this deal. Just imagine. When I went back, so transformed and changed. The one gentleman had an eye like this, it's all opened out, equally the same, everything face so transformed. I said, I can't recognize the way you are changed. Such a short time, in 8 days. They worked it out. Portugal is a country known for its escape nowadays. There are nobody we should call the real Portuguese have run away from that country. They are settled in Brazil, Spain. People have not much hopes from Spain. Politically, it's a hopeless country, they say. Italy is the worst of all. They have mafia. This. And in that mire, these beautiful lotuses to see. What a joy it was. What a joy. Can't imagine. Even our ambassador in Spain said, the people here are very different, brother. He said, I talked to some people, they said, when she's coming, you have to call us. I said, next year you have a big program. This year, let's have only the Indians. But next year, of course, you can. See, all of them here want to have realization. All big people, eminent people, you just come next year and you'll see all of them. Here, do you think anybody? An ambassador, can you imagine? I can't think. Very funny people. I met a very big man once in a dinner party where one of the Sahajogis is the chairman of the Hague High Court, of course an Indian, Dr. Nagen Singh. And he told that gentleman that this lady is a very well-known spiritual leader of India and she has given realization to many and she's looked at me and he said, no, I am also a realized soul. He said, Christ has given me realization. It's Christ who is going to give me. So Nagen Singh in Hindi says, there are no vibrations, the Kundalini is frozen. And this one is saying, how can Christ give him realization? I said, this is the escape, because Christ is known. Of course Christ gives him, but where is Christ? Within himself. So he asked him, where is Christ within yourself? That Christ knows himself. He said, I didn't know these people are such buffoons. Really? These were his words. My husband then couldn't bear it anymore, you see. They said, now forget it. See, such a blind man. I mean, in India, people may not get realization, may not, but they know what is realization. They know who's to do. I must say. Whether they are ambassadors or presidents make no difference. They know that definitely. Even President of India, say, if he sees me, he doesn't sit down, he stands up. They have that sense. That basic humility is missing. That's why we take to people who pamper our ego, we take to people who are nonsensical, we take to people who befool us. Only the egoistical can be befooled. If you are not egoistical, no one can befool. How do you befool a person? By pampering the ego. So one has to understand that unless and until we develop that basic humility within ourselves, we are not going to do very well in England. It's for all the Sahajogis as well as for people who have come. It's a very, very serious problem, and you are placed in the most vital parts of the universe, that is this England. That's the heart. And if you now, anyway, escape your responsibility, you will be held responsible. I'm telling you now very strongly. Because today I had big lectures from people saying that, Mother, you don't say things strongly and people are to be frightened. I don't want to frighten you, but you will be held responsible. Take it from me. You are born on this earth, on this great land, for a very great purpose, to create Jerusalem out of it. And now if you are not going to stand up, you will be held responsible. This is what it is. It's a tremendous work one has to do, for which you must prepare yourself. Get to it. I can give you realization, that's all. But I can't give you strength. I mean, you can't make the horse stand up on his four legs. Okay? It's a very, very desperate situation sometimes, the way things happen. After all, we must know that my coming here has some meaning of it. I didn't come here because I chose to come. In the way people, the gurus walk into your country, I came here because something was done spontaneously. I had to stay here. I had to work for you. I had to implore you and request you and tell you in every way possible your responsibility. But then you don't tell, because I have not failed in my duties as far as I am concerned. Of that I am very sure. But now I leave it to you, because I may not be here next year. What can you say? Depends on the moods. But we have to see what you are going to do for the whole world, for the whole emancipation of the human. First you have to find your own beauty, and you have to give this beauty to others. This is the greatest artist job you have to do as a great master of art in divine life. You have to become divine. It's you who has to become divine. You don't worry about me. I don't have to achieve anything. See, that's the only problem. I don't have to achieve it. I have to only achieve you people. I have to only have ways and methods by which I could really make you grow. All that is possible, I will do. But you must stand up on your legs, must ask. It's a big problem. Not for others, for me, because others have no such problem. They don't want to stand on your legs, they want you to crawl and they want you to disappear. This is a different thing. I want you to grow. Not because I want, but divine wants it. The whole creation wants it. Otherwise it will have no meaning. So the responsibility of English Sahajogis, British Sahajogis is very great. Again and again I have requested, and I have told you in whatever way possible, that establish yourself. You are lacking behind. I can tell you Spanish people will have to come and teach you Sahaja. Already we have got somebody from Australia to teach them. You give up your old ideas and conditioning. Every Saturday, Sunday, must you go out of the country, out of London? London is your place where you have to go. Unless and until you take it up upon yourself, it's not going to work out. Some people have to do. Someone. I am looking out for such people, for whom this is their desire. We talk of big things, if you talk to anyone, I see in big parties they talk, oh, what's this, and we must become peaceful countries, we must do this and that must happen. And even if you listen to the lecture of our great President of America, you find, oh God, some angel is speaking or what? Like an angel, you see they speak. Angelic, prophetic. Such big words I can't understand. Even it won't come into the mouth of God himself, but the way people talk, ultimately what remains is nothing. So let us be that, what we talk. We can be. We all can be. It's very simple. You have to decide. You have to really decide. A time has come. I just pray, may God give you strength to stand with the truth. It's not difficult. It's very joy-giving. But stand with it. Grow with it. That's what you are. Thank you. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask me. And we should have realization. Hello. What's that? What's that here? Right Swadhisthana. She's showing right Swadhisthana. No. No. Now we take this one. इसको दे दो हाथ. They are fighting. They are fighting, see? Working it out. They are all fighting. How is your child, Graham? That same thing? Your Agya? I brought her.
No, because I happen to like, because she has just come out of hospital 2 or 3 weeks.
Alright, on my way back, if we have time, I'll go for it. See you. That child is fighting. What sufferings from the very beginning of life. That house also, I think, has problems. No question? Are there any questions, please? Yeah?
I'm from Holland, and I wonder whether I should try to stay in England, in London, or somewhere in England to find work.
It's difficult to find.
I'm wondering whether I should try to find work here in England, or you understand what I said?
You are English?
No, Holland.
You are?
Holland.
Holland?
Yes.
Oh, we need people in Holland.
Yeah.
I haven't yet touched it.
Excuse me?
I haven't yet touched Holland. I haven't been there. I went there once, long time back. Oh, we have to touch Holland. There are lots of seekers, no doubt, but drinking too much. Yeah? They drink too much, they told me, like Scotland. See? Chana. Alright, you eat chana. And we have to look after them. No doubt. There are lots of seekers. Mislaid, there are. In Holland, we have one great soul. He's a young boy of 16 years, I think. Kareem, his name. They asked him about his father, mother, and he said, my father is just like other fathers. I said, really? What does he do? In the daytime, he drinks beer. In the night, he drinks whiskey. I said, really? All fathers do that, mother. And what about the children? Some of us, our friends, we meditate, but most of them also are drinking beer. When he was 12 years, he first came. I think 12 or 8 years he came here, I think. Yes, and he must be 16 now. Yes. Wonderful man. He's growing up there. I told him to gather more people who think like him. He might. He's a great person. His mother is French and father is this thing and divorced and another mother, all kinds of problems. No, would be better in Holland, no doubt. But you get your realization, you settle down here, and we must start a center in Holland, and next year I'm coming down there. Alright? Holland is one place I've not been. I didn't go to Austria. Now we have a very powerful Sahaja there, so I'm going this year. The few countries I've not tackled. We should not go away from our country. We should work there. That's the place we have to work, whatever is the condition. Switzerland now doing very well. Switzerland is doing so well. Those who were committing suicide are now coming to surgery. I am doing very well. I said, the way you are doing suicide, if you can do Sahaja Yoga even once, it will be all right. Because they did a perfect job, always, with their suicidal things. You know, they used to plan it out so well, the suicide, in such a way, I mean, that it would not create any problems for anyone, sort of thing. They used to think about it all the time, how to commit suicide, you see, and a very great planning. But look at Switzerland. It's a challenge to all of you. No, it's a good idea. You get your Sahaja Yoga here, settle down, master it, and go to Holland. You will be the one of the. I gave once a realization to one Mr. called August Steger. He was the chairman of one of your very big companies. He was a very big man, no doubt. But he told me that I cannot talk about to anyone. They'll think I've gone crazy. And he died. He was a very old man when I met him. He was about 80 years of age when I first met him. A very great seeker he was. Very great seeker. Holland I'll definitely come. And now we have reached Brussels also. So in Brussels and Holland we can do it, isn't it? From Brussels it's easier to go to Amsterdam. Where will you be in Holland?
I have no place in Holland.
Huh?
I have no place in Holland at the moment.
But you will be placed in Holland?
I have.
Yes, you should.
If I go back, I have to.
You should. You see, I would request you. Once you become a Sahaja, you should go there. I will send some people to help you also. There's somebody very powerful in Brussels, very powerful in Brussels. He will help you, very powerful. You remember that Rajneesh fellow who came? Oh, he's so powerful. You must see that. He brought about 10 people from Brussels to Lille. Can you imagine? He's already started his own center. We can only work in the democratic countries, isn't it? And I think Holland is very important. And who is there? Is Dr. Nagen Singh himself is there in Holland. He's in Hague. He's in Hague. He's the chairman of your World Court. इनको बाहर ले जाइए हाँ चलो हाँ इधर देखिए चल कैसे जाए Look what? What? Huh? Anand. Anand. This is Anand. Anand. And this is Shonu. 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 See Shonu? He's a real joker, I tell you. What makes you laugh so much, Olivia? Alright, now sit down. You sit down there. Sit down. Alright, be a nice girl, alright? Now sit down. Now, yes, we have to raise the Kundalini. Come along, come along, come along, come along. Come along now. How is she, Bhagwan? Better? Better. How is the baby from Australia? Is he alright? Is he alright? Much better now. I'm sorry that day you had gone away. I wanted to see the baby. What? Hop. Hop. Up, up. Hop. Hop. Now, hop, hop. Come, come. Anna, come, come. Still. Huh? Daddy Amma. Give her some chana. Give her some chana. Give her some chana. Alright. Go and give her some chana. Alright, take this one. You give it. I told you to give her.